Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Nano Blitz. My name is Ben Edelman, and I'm here with my friend and co-host, Ethan Silver. Ethan?
Hey, what's up? So draft week is on its way. It is draft week. We are recording this actually 2 days before the draft, and Ben and I feel like we haven't talked about the draft enough, so this video will be breaking down pretty much everything that we want to talk about in the draft. So I think first we should probably just get into the whole 49ers situation before we even go over what we want to go over, like the top players in the draft at each position, our sleepers in the draft, what players we like, what players we think won't succeed that a lot of people are on very high on. So before any of that, the 49ers have ruled out Justin Fields as an option. So that leaves us with Trey Lance, Trey Lance and Mac Jones. So what do you think about this?
First of all, before we'll assume that it's those two, but I don't think Justin Fields is truly ruled out. It's not like they're like committing to like they're only going to draft those. They may have said it, but that does not mean that they couldn't pull a surprise on draft day and just draft Justin Fields or someone else. Who knows? They could draft like Kellen Mond. They can just draft someone completely random.
That'd be hilarious.
But yeah, so about this issue, if we're just gonna like go by their word and say that it's between those two, I say they go the Mac Jones route, honestly. Because it just seems like that's who they've been targeting. I think they like Trey Lance as well, but it just kind of seems like that's the guy they're targeting. And I know the lot. They even said I saw this on Twitter earlier. They said that at the start, they just wanted one guy, but they've come to like 5 quarterbacks at that spot. And they said they don't care what the fans say. They don't care what the analysts say. They're going to take the guy that they like most. And I think that guy is Mac Jones.
But that could even mean they want, I don't even know. They want Bo Nix at that spot, you know?
Yeah.
Is he even
they said 5 different.
He's not even opted for the draft, but yeah.
They may have included Trevor and Zach Wilson and like the quarterbacks they would take though.
Yeah, that's true. But even he said 5, which obviously could be those top 5 guys that we all talk about, which is Trevor, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Mac Jones. But it could. We're just assuming that they could have been talking about Trevor and Zach. What if they were talking about someone like Kyle Trask or like Kellen Mond? Who else is even a quarterback that's in this draft? That'd be really random. KJ Costello, Ian Book, like all these.
Well, I think we can cross that off the table. I think it's definitely down to at least 3 guys, most likely 2 guys.
Now, I think realistically, I agree with you. I think Mac Jones is for sure the guy they will probably take Mac Jones, which is tough pill to swallow. But you know how much I like Trey Lance, and I think Trey Lance can be really, really good here. Not over Justin Fields though. I don't understand that.
I agree. And we were talking about this the other day. Any of these 5 quarterbacks that go Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and then the other 3 that we just talked about, any quarterback that goes to this 49ers team comes into a great situation and already has a very high chance of contending on their first year.
Yeah. I was Ben and I were talking about this, and I said that people are forgetting how good this 49ers team is, and we're yet to see a rookie quarterback win the Super Bowl as a starter, and this is like the best chance any team has, or any quarterback has in a very long time. Like going into that 49er system, you barely have. They're already, they're already not a very. I wouldn't say they're not pass heavy, but they're very screen and short pass heavy, and anybody can pretty much do this. That like Jimmy Garoppolo, not really this year, but like last year looked on the right side of the top 15 quarterbacks in the NFL. And I mean, take someone with a lot more talent like Trey Lance or Justin Fields, even Mac Jones, I would say, and throw them into that system. This team can go right back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. The people are just forgetting how good they are. They were a Super Bowl contender when they were healthy, and they probably would have been one this year again if they were healthy again. But another reason that I think they're going to take Mac Jones is just how they're like exploring this entire situation. Like, as I stated before, they don't care like what like the fans, the media say. They're going to take the guy that they like. This is a direct quote from Kyle Shanahan. We could have sat there at 12 and waited for which one came to us, if one did. But we made a decision that we felt we needed to get a starting quarterback. We wanted to dictate it. We'll get the one that we feel is best for us. So I think they think that Mac Jones is the best in their system, and we'll see if that's what happens on Thursday.
Hearing that, I definitely also think that they know that they're going to get a lot of backlash for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, that hearing that actually does sway me towards Mac Jones. It's not like I do think they're going to take Mac Jones here. I do think it'd be really interesting to see or to have them say that and another team take their word for it and trade up to get Justin Fields, and then they pick Justin Fields. That'd be an interesting.
That would be hilarious.
That would be very funny. I feel like it would be like the Panthers or something, or probably not. Probably like the Patriots.
Yeah. Speaking of the Patriots, why don't we move into our next topic? They definitely want Justin Fields. The 49ers may not want Justin Fields. They want Justin Fields. And there's been all today I've been seeing rumors about them trading up into the top 10. And I see two potential teams they could trade with. Either the Falcons at 4 or the Panthers at 8. And what are your thoughts on that?
Look, Panthers would be really depending on who they want here. We don't know if they want Justin Fields or if they want to go and get someone. They just got tight ends, but he could play receiver. Kyle Pitts.
And our Dan Arnold isn't amazing. It isn't that good. He's not like he's like the franchise tight end. We need a tight end still.
Honestly, Kyle Pitts is easily maybe even the best pass catcher in this draft. Probably is. But Brevin Jordan, Pat Freiermuth are good tight ends. They're good tight ends.
I agree, but Kyle Pitts is literally on a different level. Like, I'm completely like 2 levels above. He's like the best tight end prospect of all time, probably.
So what I'm saying is, you guys don't need to use your first. I mean, if Kyle Pitts falls to you wherever you end up picking, I don't know if you guys are going to trade up or trade down or anything. I doubt you trade down or trade up. I doubt you trade up. But if Kyle Pitts isn't there, don't be surprised seeing Brevin Jordan or Pat Freiermuth in a Panthers jersey next year.
Not in the first round, though.
Oh no, definitely not. If you guys don't get Kyle Pitts, I'm not sure what you guys would do.
Probably Rashawn Slater.
With that 8 pick, you picked up AJ Boye, but I can definitely see someone like one of these corners, like Pat Surtain, maybe even Caleb Farley. Probably every corner will be on the board for you.
You could possibly get Farley in the second round. Honestly, his stock has fallen by so much.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's still a first round pick, but you could probably get Eric Stokes.
I think he's the talent of the first round pick. I think he may not be a first round pick, but I think he definitely deserves to be one. I think he's probably the second best corner in the draft. That may be a little bold, but I really like Caleb Farley.
I think you guys can probably I could see you guys with like Eric Stokes and stuff like that, like people like that, like people with that might not even go in the first round, but still be really, really good. All of these corners seem to be like, I don't know. All of these corners seem to be outside guys. And I'm not sure if you guys need that though. And it's just kind of an unfortunate thing for the Panthers if they want to take corner, if at all in this draft, unless they want to take someone really late. But not to say this isn't a good corner draft. This is a really good corner draft. But this is an offensive draft. And yeah, I think Rashawn Slater, if he's there at your pick, that's probably who you go.
I agree. And talking about what we were talking about before, I think that I don't see a Panthers. I know there's been rumors. There's even reports that they've created the groundwork for a trade today. I don't personally think that's going to happen unless with the very unlikely scenario where Penei Sewell, Rashawn Slater, and Kyle Pitts are all off the board at pick 8. I think that's the only way we trade.
Yeah, who would you even take? Probably.
I don't think that's gonna happen though. I mean, the Jaguars, Jets, and 49ers are guaranteed to take a quarterback. If Atlanta may take Pitts. Who knows what Atlanta's doing?
If Atlanta takes Pitts, I feel so bad for Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, that would be a terrible selection. Anyway, then we got the Bengals. If they're smart, they'll take Panay. But let's be honest, they'll probably take Jamar Chase.
Joe Burrow wants Jamar.
Let's be honest, they'll take Jamar Chase. Then we move to the Dolphins, who recently, now I think they're going to take Panay. They recently said that they're moving Robert Hunt to guard, which could possibly be saying that they're going to take Panay. So let's say the Dolphins take Panay. The Lions will take a receiver, and Slater still falls to the Panthers. But then, let's say if for some reason the Lions take Slater or something.
The most sense would be Panay to Bengals, Slater to Dolphins, Pitts to, for some reason, Pitts to Lions.
No, he would go to the Falcons.
Oh, right. So then, yeah, you would be. That's actually pretty light. It's
possible. Well, if that happens, we have the safety valve because that's what I was talking about earlier. New England is either going to be trading with the Falcons at 4 or the Panthers at 8. I think the Falcons should trade the pick, honestly. They don't need Kyle Pitts. What is he going to do? Just be another talented receiver being overthrown by Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan is not the problem. It is the Falcons. The Falcons organization is the problem.
Ryan, I don't think they need another weapon. That's not their main.
No, that's not going to fix their below average offensive line play. Terrible defense. It's just.
Yeah, it's definitely that's one of the teams I'm definitely watching on Thursday because they're one of those teams that kind of needs to trade down. Like, they don't need one of these high caliber guys. They just need some depth, and they can get like 2 or 3 first round picks from New England by doing that. I think that'd be the smart move for Atlanta. What do you think?
Yeah, a trade down with New England. It honestly, it depends on what New England does, in my opinion. I think if New England just in the next 2 years, the pick that they took from Carolina or they traded with just ends up being amazing, which New England tends to coach a lot of players into being pretty good. Usually not their first round picks, but still, it could be like, oh wow, why didn't Carolina just take their pick and take that guy? But looking at it now, yeah, it makes sense for them to trade down with Carolina here.
Yeah.
So now I kind of want to talk about our favorite and who we think is the best player at each position. Yeah. So
all right.
So let's start off with the simple ones. Quarterback. Look, recency bias. People are saying Trevor could even fall to 2 or 3. They're wrong.
They're not. No one said that.
What do you mean? I've heard so many people say that.
I mean, people might say he's not the best, but I've never heard someone say he's going to fall.
Oh, I've seen people saying he's going to fall.
Well, they're not very smart.
Recency bias, whatever. Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in this draft.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Now, my favorite quarterback in this draft is Trey Lance. He's got a lot of things to prove, but if he shows his upside in the NFL and not his downside in the NFL, which is every player, but he went to North Dakota State. He was not playing in any of the conferences close to his other quarterback. What's it called? The other quarterbacks in the class.
Caliber.
Yeah, the quarterbacks of his caliber. He's ranked high. He's got decent pocket presence, and I think that his throw power could work a lot, especially if he does go to the 49ers, because you need that throw power on a screen just to zip it to someone real fast, make the play go faster. He's got a strong arm, and he's got speed, but a lot of his issues stem from he played with a really good offensive line, even if he played in a good conference in college, and he didn't. And so it's kind of hard to tell, but if he just does play with the ability that he has shown he can have at the NFL level, Trey Lance could be second best. I don't think anybody's going to be better than Trevor Lawrence in this class.
Yeah, it's definitely, and I agree. It's definitely a risk reward with him.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree with Trevor being the best. Yes. But my favorite in this class, I didn't like him at first, but it's now Justin Fields. And the reason I say he's my favorite, and I've talked about this with you before, every quarterback, including Trevor Lawrence in this class, has serious issues that you don't know if it's going to really affect them on the NFL level. I think that Justin Fields' issues are the most coachable out of these five. And you look at Trey Lance, one of the main problems I have with him is since he was at like a lower competition, he didn't have to throw. It's not even just about playing bad defenses, or it kind of is. But like he didn't have to throw any like contested catches. And that's one of the main parts of being a great NFL quarterback.
Yes, I agree with you.
So that's one of the main issues I see of him. Justin Fields, on the other hand, I feel like has more coachable issues. His main issue is having tunnel vision, which a lot of young quarterbacks have that issue. It's just something that happens to young quarterbacks, and we've seen in the past. It's very coachable. I believe Josh Allen used to have that as well.
Oh yeah, if his first read wasn't there.
Yep, that's what Josh Allen used to do, and look what happened to him. I think that Justin Fields, sure, he's going to take some work, but I think it'd be a big mistake for the 49ers to pass up on him because he could do great things there for a great coach.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Now another easy one out of the way. Tight end, Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts. He's my favorite too.
He's my favorite as well. So we don't even really need to talk about him. What can we even say that's not already been said about him? He's got speed. He's got size. He's got hands. He's honestly, he's not going to be used like this in the NFL at all. He can even block the run a little bit.
Yeah.
He could play receiver. He could play in the slot. I could even see him on the outside a little bit. He's arguably the best player in the draft. I don't think he is, but he is. I don't blame you for for thinking that he is the best player in the draft because he could be.
All right. Now, there's a position I really want to talk about right now. A very kind of weak kind of position, but it's definitely interesting. That would be running back. This isn't a very good running back class, but who do you think is going to be the best?
Okay. Well, it depends because all of these running backs, nobody's going to be drafted by a bad team. None of these running backs are.
Yeah.
Because they all just have not even.
I don't know. I could see the Jets taking ETNA.
But honestly, I don't even think the Jets are going to be too terrible.
Yeah, they're not going to be that bad. All right, so who do you think is going to be the best out of this running back class?
Look, Travis Etienne is really, really good, and so is Najee Harris. I think a lot of people see Najee Harris and they're like, oh, everybody's comparing him to Derrick Henry. He's not going to be like Derrick Henry. People are just complaining. Watch Najee Harris play, and he plays like Derrick Henry, but he's even got speed and he's not as much of a vertical runner as Derrick Henry, which Derrick Henry really shines in. Derrick Henry is it's even tough to compare anybody to him because he's Derrick Henry. But let's stop pretending like he's not going to be a great power back option in the NFL. But Travis Etienne isn't a very powerful running back, but he runs out of the backfield. He maybe has a bit of a carrying issue, but not really. He's still someone I could see being just as good as he was in college, honestly, now. And Najee Harris, I'm not even going to say recency bias because it's really either or. Some people do have Javonte Williams. I don't think Javonte Williams is on the same level as the other guys. I think he's definitely, he could even be. I can probably put them all ABC, like 1A, 1B, 1C. And it doesn't make a huge difference for me. But let's say my team needed to draft a running back here. I guess I would say Najee Harris because he's probably the most set guy. He's huge. And if you have size like that alone, your chances of being a good NFL starter already go up. So I'm going to say Najee Harris.
All right. My pick on this is a little different. My pick for this one, it's Javonte Williams. And watching this guy play, I really like that. I think he's gonna be the best running back by far. When I watch him play, I see flashes of Nick Chubb, just like the way he like reads. The way he reads the blocks, the way he reads the field reminds me of Nick Chubb. And that, in my opinion, is one of the most, maybe it probably is the most important besides like speed. It's the most important like thing as a pro running back. And I think that's going to really help him. He's not afraid to be powerful. He's pretty fast. But the thing that separates him, much like Nick Chubb, and like I've said, I believe in past podcasts, why I have Nick Chubb up there of Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey. His ball vision is just so good. And that's why I personally think that he will be by far the best running back in this draft class.
Here's what I'm thinking. I think like I said, Travis Etienne, Najee Harris, Javonte Williams, ABC, all like 1A, 1A, or 1B, 1C. They're on the same level. Maybe Javonte Williams might be a little under it, but I can see where you're coming from. Now, he did share a lot of carries with Michael Carter, and I think that just kind of affects it in my mind a little bit, but I can definitely see where you're coming from. He could probably be the best. Like I'm saying, any of these guys can be the best. I doubt anybody out of those three though will be the best. But my favorite running back in this draft, I guess I said the best was Najee, but my favorite is Travis Etienne. I love Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
I'd be thrilled I'm so excited to watch him play. He's going to be one of my favorite players in the NFL probably, but not even my favorite out of this draft. Who's your favorite? Is it Javonte Williams?
Yeah. Moving on to wide receivers.
Yeah, speaking of favorite player.
I'm just gonna start off with this. I know you want to. I know who you want to talk about.
Yeah,
and I'm just gonna start. I don't actually really have a. Do I have a favorite wide receiver? I don't really focus on that much, but I definitely see a best wide receiver, and that would be who a lot of people think is the best, Ja'Marr Chase. And I know that this is a very stacked wide receiver class, especially at the top. You got three elite wide receivers in Ja'Marr Chase, Jalen Waddle, and Devonta Smith, all with question marks by them. But I think that Ja'Marr Chase will end up being, when it's all said and done, Ja'Marr Chase will be the best of them. And Ja'Marr Chase, I know he didn't play last year, but when he played in 2019, you could argue that it was better than Devonta Smith's year this year. I know he didn't win the Heisman because his quarterback broke his quarterback. He didn't win the Heisman because of his quarterback, but he dropped 1,780 yards and 20 touchdowns. And I think that he's just the most pro-ready wide receiver in this draft class. Both Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith both have extreme question marks. Devonta Smith, obviously with the build, you don't know if he's going to be able to translate to the NFL with that skinny build, and he might not be able to take hits at the NFL level. And then Jalen Waddle has had a health issue in the past. He was injured for a lot of the year. So I know yours. I know mine is Ja'Marr Chase, but who is yours, Ethan?
So yeah, my favorite player in the entire draft, my favorite receiver coming into the NFL, maybe even my favorite receiver in the NFL once he's in it, is Jalen Waddle. And he's not just the fast guy. He's not your typical fast guy. He maybe doesn't play as physical as Ja'Marr Chase, but he can play extremely physical. He's a great route runner. Again, maybe not as great as Devonta Smith out route running, but Jalen Waddle can do what both of them do, and he could do it with electric elite speed. It's just ridiculous. He's just an ultimate athlete, and I always love those kinds of guys. And people see him kind of as like a slot guy, but he can probably play anywhere on the field. Obviously, like as a receiver, not as like a running back or anything like that, or like a tight end. But he's gonna need to be. I could see him being the do I want to say this? I could see him being the best receiver in the NFL at a point. I don't know. I just watch him. I watch him on film. He's obviously, once you like a player, you want to watch more and more film of them. And Jalen Waddle is like probably my favorite prospect I've ever got to like watch film of. So it's hard for me to just not back this guy up wherever. And so I'm going to. Jalen Waddle is the best receiver in the class. He's my favorite receiver in the class. And Jamar Chase is my 2. Devonta Smith is my 3. And I do have just a quick thing to say about Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith, everyone's saying is going to be a bust. I don't see it. I just don't think he's going to be nearly as good as these other 2. I still think he's going to be really good. He can create separation, and it doesn't matter how big you are if you could create separation unless you're getting covered by someone like Jair Alexander, like one of those lockdown guys that can run your routes for you.
All right, yeah. I knew you were going to say that, but great explanation. I can definitely see why you feel like Jalen Waddle's the best. But moving on to O-line, you want to group the linemen together?
Yeah. Offensive guard and tackle in the same place.
Yeah,
we have the same answer.
They switch around. The top prospects in this class switch around so much. We'll just combine them. So this is the top 2 prospects on the line in this draft. It's a great debate about who's better. They're both better at much different things. But I think overall, maybe not in the short term, but in the long term, Penei Sewell is the best lineman in this class. He is just such a beast. He's just, in my opinion, the most complete lineman in this class. I don't truly see like his really weakness. Like I see weaknesses of all of them. I don't really see a major weakness for Penei Sewell. He's 6'5", 325 pounds. He excels at blocking the run. He's definitely the best run blocker, and he's also a very good pass blocker. I honestly don't even know who to compare him to. He's just a special prospect, and hopefully he lands with the Panthers at number 8 on draft night. What about you?
You basically said everything I want to say about Penei Sewell because he's clearly my best tackle. Probably, I don't think he is. Again, he's not my best player in the draft, but he is probably a lot of people's, and it's honestly not like a big deal to me. People are subject to their opinion, and I think Penei Sewell is definitely not a bad opinion. Because I don't know, he can run block, pass block, like you said. He could bully someone. He's extremely strong. He is very raw. His technique just needs to get better. His footwork needs to get a little bit better. But that's why a lot of people are saying Rashawn Slater's going to be better because day one, he will be better. Rashawn Slater will play better. He will, because he's more technically sound than Penei Sewell, but Penei Sewell is just a better athlete. And in this case, the better athlete is going to take the cake for me.
Yeah, they're both Slater and Penei are both very good players. They'll both probably be amazing. But let's move on to our next position group in the defensive line.
So edge.
Yes, edge. Not linebackers though. Edge.
Oh, if they're gonna play edge as a linebacker.
Well, yeah, like outside linebackers, not inside linebackers.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, just D line.
Well, here's basically what I have to say about this. You can go around and you can say Kwity Paye. You can say any of these guys that were good maybe last year, like even people that you wouldn't even think about, like Quincy Roche, Gregory Rousseau. But after just a lot of film study, because I really messed up this year, and I just did my film study way too late. So if you kind of look at our mock draft video, it's not like I know what I'm talking about as much as I would usually know. But Jaylen Phillips is someone I got to watch quite a bit, and it's great because I don't have to go back and forth between film study to see my comparisons with Jaylen Phillips, because Gregory Rousseau is on the other side of the line, which helps Jaylen Phillips a lot, but you could just see who's better, and it's clear Jaylen Phillips is the most dominant edge in this entire class. He really doesn't have a huge downside. He doesn't show a lot of power ability, but that's something that you could fix in the weight room. and with some technique, which he already has. He's very smart, this player. He's ready for the NFL, Jaylen Phillips. And I don't know what else to say. He's probably not my favorite. And I know he's going to end up going to a team that's just going to make me mad because he's going to make the team a lot better. But Jaylen Phillips is my best D lineman in this class.
Yeah, I personally agree with you about Jaylen Phillips being the best D lineman in this draft class. But since you already talked about him so much, I want to talk about my favorite, who's on the other side of Jaylen Phillips, Gregory Rousseau.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally, I can understand why his stock dropped in the draft. Yes. But if I'm a team that has an early to mid second round pick and he's still on the board, I'm taking him with no hesitation. This is someone, sure, he's very risky. He has huge bust potential, but he could easily be the next top 5 edge rusher. I know he didn't play last year, but in 2019, basically the only year he played, 19.5 tackles for loss and 15.5 sacks while playing aside Jaylen Phillips. So he's 6'5", 260. I just see that this is just my favorite guy because I'm sure you can see that he'll take a lot of work. He's definitely going to take some years to develop, but I think he'll be able to do it personally. And if he does, he's going to be amazing and he's going to eat quarterbacks.
All right. My favorite is also Gregory Rousseau. So that's interesting that you said that. I didn't even know that he was your favorite. Gregory Rousseau is still super young. He's a sophomore, opting for the draft. He's someone who is going to play primarily on the edge, but he can definitely move on to the inside sometimes. And just, if you want to completely just rush the passer, I could see a team, like you said, maybe even, I think the ideal pick for him to go is in the late first round. Because if he goes in the late first round, he can end up on a team that might already be good. And, will already be good because everybody in this late first, besides maybe the Jets, who else has the Jaguars, have good picks here. And so I'm thinking Ravens could take him. I know they got Yannick and stuff, but like I'm saying, if they want to run a set where they just want to rush the passer, I think they have their guy. I think that it would be perfect if they got Gregory Rousseau to do this.
Yeah, I agree. And with moving on to linebackers, I believe we probably have the same guy. So I'm going to let you talk, but I have someone else I want to talk about after you finish.
Do we have the same guy?
Probably. Who's your guy?
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I want to talk about someone else after because there's someone else I really like.
All right. So Micah Parsons is everyone's. Maybe not. I guess maybe not. But Micah Parsons is a lot of people's best linebacker. He's just got so many flaws. He has a really great upside. He's like a defensive end, but he can kind of stop the run as a middle linebacker. He's definitely a big run stopping guy. He could be outside linebacker, maybe in a 4-3. But his coverage is really, really not good. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, however, could probably be, if not defensive rookie of the year, a defensive player of the year in the future. He can be a middle linebacker. He can be a 4-3 outside linebacker. He could be, he can blitz. He has the ability to stop the run, and his coverage is not bad. And coverage is very coachable, but it takes a lot of smarts and stuff for that. It takes a lot of film study for that types of stuff. And I think Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is committed enough to probably do that stuff, and that's why I can see him being so great.
Yeah, I agree with you that Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, I can't pronounce his name, but
just call him
J-O-K. I think he's going to be the best linebacker in the draft. He reminds me of. I think he's going to have a similar season to what Jeremy Chin had this year. They're very similar, but yeah, he's my best. But and the guy I'm about to talk about, he isn't even my second. I'd still put Micah Parsons as the second best. But this is a very strong linebacker class, in my opinion. And my third best player, I think, is still going to be a great player if he falls into the right hands. And that would be Zavin Collins. And I really like Zavin Collins.
Sorry.
He is 6'4", 260. He is so athletic, and he has the talent to back it up. He has the build, the talent, and the athleticism. And I think that a perfect fit for him. If he goes to, I think the Patriots, if they don't trade up, they could take him at 15, and he would give JOK a run for his money for that defensive rookie of the year.
But so the NFL, like recently, middle linebackers have just not been easy to get, and we've seen this. How many teams can you name that need a middle linebacker? It's one of the biggest needs in the entire NFL. You've got Micah Parsons, JOK, Baron Browning, Jabril Cox, who was good last year, Nick Bolton, who's been decent, Chaz Surratt, Dylan Moses, and who am I missing? Did I say Zavin Collins? No, Zavin Collins, yeah. Yeah,
this is the first one in a while that's like a stacked linebacker class.
This is the draft where you just like go and get yourself a middle linebacker.
Yep. And I think that all three of those guys are going to get taken in the first round, easily, possibly a fourth. I think that, all the three of those guys are going to get taken in the first round. There could be four. Yeah, this is definitely one of the strong suits of the draft class, and a lot of teams are going to be going after that.
Yeah.
But moving on to, I believe, our last position, defensive backs.
Yes.
So safeties and corners.
Yes.
All right. Who do you think is going to be the best out of these?
It's really hard to tell because these corners are all really, really similar to me. Maybe not in the play style, but in the place that they're going to play. Every one of these guys is going to be an outside corner. They're all going to be outside guys, and just because of that, it's kind of hard to determine. You've got people. We have some freak athletes in here. There's like all of these corners in here are all over 6 feet tall. They're all big corners. And that's what it's kind of becoming. Every corner is becoming very, very big. So that's why, if I saw someone built like Eric Stokes, even in, a couple of years ago, even, I would be like, wow, that's a big corner. But now this is just like the regulation corner. So now it's kind of hard to tell because you have to look at their talent. And I think Caleb Farley, as a talent, maybe not even the most talented, but I think he will end up being the best corner in the league, best corner out of this draft. I think Patrick Surtain can do it, but he tends to. He's a good man guy, and he's got a knack for pulling away and like chucking his zones a little early, but he also kind of can't turn his hips as quickly. He's got downsides, but you put him, he could probably put someone on an island, and for that reason, I'm probably gonna say Patrick Surtain is the best corner in this class.
Yeah, it's very, and you got to remember we're including safeties, but yeah, this safety class is not very good.
Yeah, feel bad for like someone like the Vikings or like who else take a safety.
They got John Johnson.
Yeah, they got a decent safety. Maybe Raiders.
Yeah.
Raiders.
But I'm having a really hard time deciding between these three main guys. And I'm honestly going to say J.C. Horn is going to be the best corner. I used to think that it was going to be Caleb Farley, but Caleb Farley, take away the injury issues. He has a very severe tackling issues, similar to C.J. Henderson of last year's draft. And I don't think that's more of a problem than people realize as a corner. I get people like, oh, I'm just going to lock them down. I don't need a tackle. That's a huge thing you need to do as a corner, and I think any corner entering the NFL should be able to do that. And I like J.C. Horn because I think he's a very versatile corner. Not a defensive back, because I don't think he could play like safety, but I think he's a versatile corner. I think you could plug him in on the outside, he'd do fine. You could plug him in the slot, he'd do fine. He's played in the slot in college before, but he's also played out wide. I think he's just going to be the best just because of the flexibility of where he can play.
Yeah, he could be a crazy slot mismatch. He can press someone to their feet. He's a great press corner, maybe even the best in the class. So I can definitely see it happening. Him even moving into the slot. He understands zone coverage really well. J.C. Horn is probably my second. And like these top three corners, it's like the top three receivers. It could be either or for a lot of people. So yeah, that's or like the top three quarterbacks past Trevor Lawrence. Or is either or no, past Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson are either or for a lot of people. So yeah, these corners are really tough. As for safety, I don't have much to talk about, but if you want my best safety, it's probably either Richie Grant or Javon Holland. Those are probably.
I like Javon Holland, but I honestly have not researched safeties too much. It's not very uninteresting class for safeties.
I like UCF, so I did a little bit on Richie Grant, but a lot of these other guys, I'm just kind of going off of by ear, which is probably not a good idea, but I'm going off of ear for Javon Holland a little bit. He could probably even play a little bit in the corner, like in the corner spot. So maybe that's why I'm saying that. But because he's very flexible. He's smart too, Javon Holland. But Richie Grant, I guess I would have to say is it's not really fair to say that though, because he is the only safety that I've really looked at.
Yeah.
In depth.
Before we end the podcast for today, me and Ethan just want to talk about some guys that we think are kind of like steals, kind of like underrated players. So you want to just talk about one guy that you think that's like kind of like under the radar? I can go first if you want.
No, I can talk if you want. You can go first if you want to.
All right. Yeah, there's someone I've had in mind. I did some film study on him the other day, and I think that D tackle is that we haven't mentioned D tackles because we grouped them together with edges. But I think that D tackle is definitely, it might obviously be weaker than safeties, honestly. But to me, there's one clear guy that stands at the top, and I think that he's definitely under the radar. I haven't heard that much talk about. Everyone's been talking about Christian Barmore. That's the only D tackle I really hear about, honestly. But a guy I like really is, I might pronounce his name wrong, Levi Un Wuzaraki out of Washington. And I love a good D tackle. A good D tackle, you don't really notice them, but they are so important to the success of a defense. And when I look at this, when I look at this guy, I kind of see a resemblance of Grady Jarrett, just how like he plays. And I think that he would be a surefire first rounder if he would have played this year, but he didn't play this year, so he dropped a little. But I think that he's definitely the best I think he's better than Barmore. I think he's definitely the best D tackle in this draft. And I could see him turning into the next Grady Jarrett, honestly.
Well, I was going to talk about a D tackle, but you talked about a D tackle. So I guess who would I even talk about here? I like Aaron Robinson out of UCF a little, not a little bit. I like UCF players. I like Aaron Robinson out of UCF. I could defend Devonta Smith to the end. But he's not really under the radar. He's just, a lot of people are underrating him, or I guess overhating him. It's just kind of a little weird. I don't understand the hate for Devonta Smith. Just because he's not as good as these other two doesn't mean that he's not good. He's going to be good. I can defend Trey Lance, but someone I guess under the radar, people better not forget about Quincy Roche. He was good. He didn't have a great year, but he was good. Did he even play? He went under the radar. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's someone who went under the radar.
Yeah.
He did play. Yeah, that's why I didn't even know he played. Wasn't even sure. But he produced, he ate blocks, and when he wasn't eating blocks, he was tackling the quarterback or tackling the running back. He's I think he's just really fast and he's really athletic. And I think he's someone that could definitely go under the radar. And he's not even like in a lot of people's top like 10 as when it comes to edges. Maybe not even.
I actually agree. I agree that he's under the radar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that about does it, I guess.
Yeah, that was just our little draft analysis, players we like. Hopefully we can look back at this and say, yeah, we were right. That's great. Or, maybe we could even end up looking back at this and saying, wow, we look so stupid in this podcast. But we're not going to take it down because whatever. This is just for fun. This is our opinions. If you want to let us know what you think, if you want to agree with us, want to talk about a player with us, want to yell at us for saying something dumb, just go follow us at NanoBlitz Podcast on Instagram, and that'll wrap it up.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. We are I'm not sure of the exact date, but we will be coming out of an episode analyzing the draft soon after it happens. I don't know how soon. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next episode.